let us continue with the topic. Now we have discussed about Vienna Convention on saving this ozone layer. Now let us discuss in detail regarding United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which is nothing but called UNFCCC. Now what is this? Now this is an international environmental treaty negotiated at UN Conference on Environment and Development. Now it was a international environmental treaty which was negotiated in United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, UNCED. Right now, and informally this United Nations framework is called as Earth Summit 1. Right, Earth Summit 1, now which was held in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil in 1992. Right, the term biodiversity was also popularized during this Earth Summit only. Right now, currently it is the only international policy with broad framework with universal membership. It has a broad framework with universal membership. Now the next one what we will discuss is the Earth Summit 1, or you call it as Rio Summit. Earth Summit or Rio Summit. Right now this was held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in 1992. Now it was signed in New York City on 9th May. Right, it was signed in New York City on 9th May, the draft agreement. Done. Now see here, it has 165 signatory members. Now what are the agenda, what are the key points of this summit? The first one is an Earth Charter covering the principles aiming at development and protection of the environment must be created. Now the first one is creation of an Earth Charter which aims for the sustainable development and protection of the environment. And the next one is Agenda 21. Already we have discussed about this. Agenda 21, by 21st century what are the actions that has to be taken in order to save the environment from the human effects, sustainable development. Now this is a global action plan. Now the third one is developing countries demanded a substantial increase in funding from developed countries to contribute sustainable development. Right, developing countries demanded funding from developed countries. Right, now this is third component. Right, now see here, all the three are very important. Focus on this. Now what are the objectives of this Rio Summit? Now we have seen the key components. Now let us see the objectives. Now the first objective is to stabilize greenhouse gases. Stabilize greenhouse gases. Right, now see here how to stabilize. Now in order to curb the activities of anthropogenic interference, or your human induced activities have to be decreased in order to save the climate. Now this is a legal treaty. Right, now it provides a framework for negotiating specific international treaties called protocols, and that may set binding on greenhouse gases. The main objective is to stabilize greenhouse gases, right? Focus on this. Now let us see the next very important concept called Conference of Parties, COPs, right? Conference of Parties. Right. Now what is this Conference of Parties? Now under the broad framework of this United Nations framework convention on climate change, parties are supposed to meet the annual targets, measures of reduction of greenhouse gases that creates adverse effect to the climate change, right? So therefore this Conference of Parties will be held annually, right? Parties mean the members have to report about the decrease of greenhouse gases and what are the measures taken for the decrease of greenhouse gases. Now the first COP was held in Berlin, Germany, right, to access the progress of dealing with climate change. Now the next one is COP3. Next Conference of Parties, COP3 held. Now this is a famous thing called Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol. Now what about this Kyoto Protocol? Now this Conference of Parties 3 was held in Japan, Kyoto city of Japan, in the year 1997. Now the first one was held in 95, right? Now see here, they laid down a protocol called Kyoto Protocol, which shows you the conclusive measures, to cut down the greenhouse gas emission with given timeline, in order to decrease the greenhouse gases within timeline, right? Now see here, let us discuss about this Kyoto Protocol in detail. Now see here, this is also a legal binding target under which the industrialized nations, developed countries, I will write it as DC, under which developed countries are required to reduce the emissions of greenhouse gases by an average of 5.2 percentage, which is below 1990 level, by the year 2012. Now this is the prime target of Kyoto Protocol. The developed countries must reduce their greenhouse gas emissions at an average of 5.2% below 1990 by 2012, right? Now in this Kyoto Protocol, first commitment and second commitment was given. Now the first commitment period is nothing but 2005 to 12. The second commitment period will be 2012 to 2020, right? Now this protocol emphasizes or explains you about the targets what the countries have to achieve in order to curb down these greenhouse gases. However, it also offers 3 market-based mechanisms in order to meet their targets. Now these are very, very important. What are the 3 market-based mechanisms? The first one is carbon trading. Carbon trading or sometimes we call it as emission trading. Right. The second market based mechanism is clean development mechanism. Clean development mechanism. And the next one is joint implementation. Joint implementation. Now see here, we will discuss about this carbon trading, emission trading in detail. Now let us discuss about this carbon trading. Now we have discussed about carbon footprints previously. Now we will discuss about carbon trading. Now see here, this is a market based strategy to control pollution by giving economic benefits and achieving desired reducing in emissions. Right. Now this is a market based mechanism in order to control pollution by giving economic benefits. Now this is the crux point. I'll write on the crux point. Economic benefits. Right. Now under this Kyoto Protocol, each signatory country allowed to emit a fixed amount of greenhouse gases. Now each signatory country are allowed to release a fixed amount of greenhouse gases known as quota limit or target. Quota limit or target. Now how this quota limit works, now I'll explain with an example here. Right. Now let us consider two countries. Okay. One is Australia and the next one, let us consider one more country, Japan. Right. Now see here, if Australia was given a quota limit of 200 kilo units, right, per year of carbon emissions. Now if Japan was given a limit of 100 kilo units per year. Right. Now see here, if Australia emits 210 kilo units per year and if Japan emits only 90 kilo units per year, now what happens? Now Japan is with sufficient quota limit. Now Australia exhausted its quota limit. Right. Now see here, 1 KU is nothing but 1 ton of greenhouse gas. Right. KU is not kilo unit, it is nothing but KU is nothing but Kyoto unit. I'm really sorry, changing it, Kyoto unit. KU is nothing but Kyoto unit. Now see here, now this Australia have to purchase the over limit of Kyoto units from Japan. Now this is nothing but called your carbon trading. Right. Now see here, I will explain again it here. Suppose there are two countries, Australia and Japan, and they are given with the quota limit of 200 KU per year. But if Australia emits 210 Kyoto units per year and Japan only 90 KU per year, now Japan has an spare of 10 KU per year. Now under emission trading system, Australia can buy this spare 10 KUs Japan to remain within the limit of quota. Now this purchasing and selling of carbon emissions under quota limit is known as carbon trading, right? Now this is the crux, right? Purchasing and selling carbon emissions under quota limit is known as carbon trading, and it is also called as carbon credits. Now see here I have given a detailed explanation regarding this. Now focus on this, right? Carbon credits. Now the next one what we will deal is clean development mechanism. Next one is clean development mechanism. Now what is this clean development mechanism? Now under this clean development mechanism, this Kyoto Protocol permits a country having an emission reduction commitment to establish an emission reduction project in other developing nations, right? Now see here, I'll write down the crux point. It permits a country. Now this is very important, that's why it permits a country having an emission reduction commitment to establish an emission reduction project in other developing countries. Now, this is the point. Now, this is vague. I'll explain in general. Now, see here, this type of projects earn emission reduction credits equivalent to 1 ton of carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases, which will be considered as meeting Kyoto targets, right? Now see here, I will explain with an example, so that's why it will be very clear. Suppose if a developed country, as again I'll take the same example, if Australia was given a quota of 200 KU per year, but it emits 210 KU per year, right? So it needs to manage this extra 10 KUs per year. Am I right or wrong? So this Australia can finance a solar project in any village in India, a developing country, and gets certificate that solar plant led to reduction of this 10 units of GHG. Now see here, it had emitted 10 KUs extra per year. Now to subside this, now Australia can install a solar plant in India, which is a developing nation, now which is equivalent to this 10 KU emission target, right? So in that case Australia will be in the quota limit, right? Now this is the clear explanation of clear development mechanism. At firm level, again one more explanation is also given there. Suppose Australian government has passed a law that a particular steel company, now this is about in general regarding countries. Now let us think about the firm levels. Now an Australian government have fixed a target to a steel company to emit 200 KUs per year, or 200 tons Now see here, 200 KUR is nothing but very generalized thing. I will explain in detail regarding specific thing. Now when this steel company is producing 200 tons per day, example, now which is equivalent to 10 KU, 10 units of greenhouse gases, 10 units of greenhouse gases, but this company wants to produce more steel. Then if it produces more steel, automatically the greenhouse gas emissions will be increased. Am I right or wrong? So this company can also do the same, likewise the Australian government does, right? It can also install a solar plant in a developing country and can subside this extra quota limit, right? The same for the firm level also, right? So that's why this company will also be in the quota limit fixed by the government. Done. Very, very important, you have to focus on this. Right. The next one is joint implementation program. Joint implementation program. Now what is this joint implementation program? Right, now under this joint implementation mechanism, a developed country having higher cost of domestic greenhouse gases emission, it has exceeded the quota limit and being exchanged for extra emission limit, can establish a project in another country which can cut your emission, it seems. Now see, under this joint implementation program, now see here, when a developed country emits more than quota limit, then what it can do? Now it can establish a project in another country which can commit. Now see here, this country can establish another plant which can cut emissions in another country. I'm writing it clearly. Now this is very general, I'll explain it with specific things. Now joint implementation mechanism is identical to your clean development mechanism, am I right? The same thing happening, but in case of clean development mechanism, a developed country can set up project only in developing country, whereas in joint implementation program, any signatory developed country can set up project in developed countries to meet the quota limit. Now this is the difference. In clean development mechanism, there is a chance for developed country to establish in developing country. But in joint implementation program, now any signatory developed country can set up project in other developed countries, right? A developed country can establish a project in any other developed country, right? Not in developing country. Now this developed country might be signatory or might not be signatory, not be a signatory company, right? Now this is the difference between clean development mechanism and joint implementation program. Now focus on this. Once it was asked in your 2016 Service Commission examination, what is the difference between clean development mechanism and joint implementation program? This is the clear cut difference, right? In joint implementation program, any signatory developed country can set up project in developed country. This particular developed country may or may not be signatory to meet the quota limit. Now, this is the case, right? Okay, now this is regarding Conference of Parties 3. Done. Now let us go to the next COP. Now the next one is Conference of Parties COP 16. Now this COP 16 was held in Cancun, Mexico in 2010. Now this parties laid down the target to check the increment of temperature, laid down targets to check the increment of temperatures. Now this is to check the increment of temperatures. Now as per the agreement, the objective was to limit increment in temperature below 2 degrees centigrade by the end of 21st century. Right? Now the reference time must be taken as pre-industrialization level. Right? The next one what we will discuss is COP 17 Durban Summit. Now before this COP 17 we will discuss COP 19. COP 17 has to be discussed in detail. Right? COP 19 was held in Warsaw, Poland. Right. Now COP 20, Conference of Parties 20, was held in Lima, Peru in 2014. Now this is in 2013. Now COP 21 was held in France. Right. Held in Paris, France in December 2015. Now let us see about the COP 21. Right. Now this COP 21, the Conference of Parties negotiated an agreement called Paris Agreement. Now this is very important. Paris Agreement, now which is nothing but a global agreement on control of climate change. On control of climate, I write a CC, climate change. Now total 196 parties have participated in this. Now this agreement will be legally binding if only at least 55 countries have represent it. Right. Now such parties have to sign the agreement, right, and adopt the own legal systems in order to have the control of this climatic change effects. Now what are the targets set by this Paris Agreement? Limited global warming to less than 2 degrees centigrade compared to pre-industrialization levels. Same thing. Now this agreement calls for zero anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions. Zero anthropogenic means human induced factors, right, by the half of 21st century, right, by 21st century. Now these parties will ensure to limit the temperature increase up to 1.5 degrees centigrade, right. And now this agreement establishes goals to update and enhance every 5 years beginning in 2023. However, no detailed timetable was not given under this Paris Agreement. Right. Now see here 146 national climate panels under intended nationally determined contributions. Now I'll write the full form. Intended nationally determined contributions. Now this is a report, right? Contributions committed to reduce 40% of greenhouse gas emissions, committed to reduce 40% of greenhouse gas emissions by the year 2030. Now this is one more important point that you have to focus on, right? Now what are the outcomes of this Paris Agreement? Now already we have said that these members have agreed to reduce the temperature below 2 degrees centigrade, I mean less than average. Now already we have discussed this agreement will be effect only when at least 55 countries have signed it. Now also it gives the notions how to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, and also it helps in funding of institutions which help in reducing of greenhouse gases. And this is one more very important one, right? Focus on this. Thank you.